Yo, what up, Rick? Ricky boy. Who else is in here? Just one other person. All right. Friday is my push day. So did some training this morning. Pump focused. All that stuff. Pretty good. Um, Rick says you're either first or you're last. Not wrong. He's not wrong. Yeah, so did some push training today. That went pretty good. I still am having issues training my chest. Um, I have had issues training my chest for 20 years now, so um, nothing exciting or new there, but we're working on it. Oh, Mark. What's up, Mark? How are you? Rodney, my man. Perfect timing. Over for my lunch. Not retired yet. I am. I am retired. Joe, my boy, how are we? Yeah, so we are working on, when I say we, it's my coach, Danny, and I. Um, we're working on different things to build the proprioception with my chest. Um, I don't have great leverages for the chest, so like orthopedically, I'm in a disadvantage for training my chest. It's I've always had a I was always took me a long time to build my bench press really well because of how long my arms are and things like that. My shoulders will grow no matter what I do. My triceps will grow no matter what I do. My chest is the Achilles heel. It's the hardest muscle for me to grow by far. So that's something Danny and I are working on. And I think I've gotten a bit more fullness lately out of it. But it's gonna take a lot of work to get my chest growing the way that it should. But I really think it's going to complete my physique a lot better if I can get a good chest. So let's see, Josh Richardson. I'm too scared to quit. Currently under sink. Josh is a plumber. He owns a plumbing company. If you guys are wondering what he's talking about, um, Mark said, "You are retired and working your ass off coaching us." Um, I'm busier now somehow than I was. I have. I don't know how I did this with a full time job. I have no fucking idea. Um, no idea at all, honestly. So yeah, I really don't know, but apparently I did it for a while. So um, yeah, I have no clue. That's probably why I was falling asleep every 30 minutes of the day. Um, but yeah, no idea how I did it. Um, but it was all in good fun. Um, Joe, getting fat, feeling good, just off season things. Man, I'll be right there with you come second week of December. I'll be right there with you. Um, I like the off season. Um, I like the off season because I can just focus on my training, and that's all that matters. Um, and you know, majority of my workouts are good in the off season. Sometimes in prep, workouts are just literally just going through the motions, just trying not to get hurt, just literally trying to make it to my post-workout meal is sometimes what prep turns into for me. But overall, my training has been good. My workouts have been good, all things considered. Jay Money in the house. What's up, Tommy? What's up, Jay? Thanks for being here. Jared is here. Crunchy is here. Hello, Crunchy. Jay Money. Anything you wish you did sooner in regards to training? Regrets from earlier years outside of doing powerlifting for so long. Anything I wish I would have done sooner in regards to training? Yeah. I would have, and I was actually pretty good about this, but I would have done it more. When I was younger, I would have traveled more to go train with more people, um, whether professionals or, I've gone and trained with Dave Tate. I've trained with, Skip. I've trained with lots and lots of great athletes and coaches. Um, I would have done more of that when I was younger and I had less responsibility and I had more time to do those things. So I would have gone anywhere in the world to train with whoever was willing to train with me, So, yeah, so I've gone to train with Skip. I've gone to, Elite FTS several times to train with people there. I've met, Brandon Smitley. He's a world record powerlifter. I've trained with him. I've learned from Chris Duffin. Um, I've traveled out, to meet Josh Bryant in Texas. That's what I would have done more of, Jay, is getting around as many people as I could that are better and smarter than me as frequently as I could. That's what I would have done. And that's what I still try to do. I still try to go out and meet people and learn from them and pay them to, mentor me. And um, I'm constantly trying to train um, with other people that are better than me. Any opportunity I get to do that, I'm going to take it 100%. So yeah, that's the one thing I wish I would have done, sooner in regards to training. As far as like the X's and O's, like technique and blah 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 blah. No, I don't regret anything I did for training because training's not so cut and dried. Like even if you're doing like the dumbest fucking program ever, if you're just showing up and working hard and putting in the consistency, that's adding up over time, regardless of whatever you're doing. It could be the dumbest shit ever. And if you're just showing up and learning, and maybe you're learning that it's the dumbest shit ever, and you're okay, cool. And it's like education; it's never a waste of time. The more you train and the more experience you develop, it's all worth it. So no, I wouldn't have done anything different. I don't think. Um, Joe says, being retired from HVAC, would you ever see yourself going back to a commercial gym or just home gym life now? Um, I don't know. I don't. Maybe, maybe. I like my home gym. I train better there. I don't like being around people. It's not that. It's not that I don't like people. I don't want it to sound like that. I am far more effective in an empty gym by myself with no one around me. Um, I've always been that way. I like training with other people and I like having friends at the gym and I like, access to more equipment and things like that. But I've always I've always been like a home gym type person. When I started training, I started in um, my parents' bedroom. All they had was a treadmill and, a pair of dumbbells. And, I trained there for 2 years or so. And then my brother and I got some shit for the garage and we started training in the garage. Then it came to a point where, we ran out of options. And he's like, hey, I think you need to join the gym with me. So eventually I joined the gym. Once I kind of um, ran out of things to do at home, you know, you can only do P90X for so long until you need to increase weights and things like that and have, access to other things. So that's, then I started in the gym and everything like that. Um, then I rebuilt my home gym when I was going to school full time and working full time. Um, and I don't know, I just love home gyms. I love um, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Um, no one's watching you. No one's judging you. Not saying that people do anyways or whatever, but it's just so peaceful. I guess it's just like um, my own space, my own hour, 2 hours of time where nothing else exists. And when you're in a home gym, literally nothing else exists besides you and your goals in front of you. So it's always just been really nostalgic for me training at home. I do, man. There's some great gyms out there. I have we have a really nice gym, um, very bodybuilding esque, like 5 minutes from my house. I don't even have a membership there. And then another one about 18 minutes the other way. Amazing equipment, Panada shit, all the nice shit, Mega Mass, whatever. They got all the shit you see, on Instagram, um, like those different row machines and all that cool shit. I just like might get it done in the basement, Um, it saves me time and like the nostalgia of it for me, like I said. Um, yeah, so for now, Joe, it's just going to be home gym life. And man, I wouldn't change it. I'm so grateful for it. Mark says, what's up, coach? What's up, Mark? Mark asks, can you describe what you learned from your coaches? Skip, AJ, Josh Bryant, Clint Arden, Juan Morel. I've had a lot of coaches. And how they influence your coaching philosophy and style. Um, what do you mean? Can I describe it? Can you describe what you learned from your coaches? How they influence your coaching philosophy and style? Um, I mean, they all obviously have influence. You know, I'm now a very good blend of Meadows, Skip, AJ. I've learned a lot from Kurt. Learned a lot from Chase. I've learned a lot from a lot of people because I've done it for a long time. My friend Matt Vinipal, I learned a ton from. He was my first coach. Um, he's one of the best coaches I've ever had. Still to this day, he's one of my best friends, and I'm still learning from him. Um, so yeah, I'm always learning from all these other people that I trust. Um, and how has it influenced my coaching philosophy? Um, yeah, I mean they're all a part of it. You know, it would it would just be like anything else. Um, but yeah, of course, a lot of methodologies I use have come from them. You know, and people that they learned it from, and uh, yeah. So at this point, I'm a very good balance of, you know, Skip, AJ. Um, you know, like I said, I learned a lot from Kurt and Chase. Um, I've learned a lot from past coaches, you know, Clint Darden, Josh Bryant, as far as the training side of things. Um, Nutrition. I've always been quite good with nutrition. I learned this stuff very early. Um, and this is when, you know, John Meadows was starting to get popular in 2008. Um, I really started deep diving into John's stuff. Um, so from 2008 is when I started studying John's training and diet philosophies. Um, so really, John had a huge influence on the way I do things. And sure enough, you know, AJ and Skip, they have a lot in common with a lot of the things John did. There's some nuances and differences, but another guy I learned from is Don Kuza. I learned a lot from him. He's a very smart guy. Um, so he is a mentor of mine as well. So I learn a lot from him. So shout out to him. But yeah, that's I have my own style, and I have things that I do differently than them. There's things I do very similar to them. There's things I do exactly the same as them. But with any good coach, um, you have several tools, you know, for whatever comes up. So um, every client's individual. Some of your guys' diets are, you know, very similar concepts. Some of you are doing very, very different shit than other people. So, you know, so that's how that goes. Um, you know, you have to have several different ways of, you know, solving problems and getting people to their goals, because not everyone can just do carb cycling with chicken and rice and, you know, shit like that. Sometimes you need to get a little more creative with lifestyle people who travel, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, as far as that, Mark, yeah, there's a lot that goes into that, but um, overall, yeah, they've all been a huge influence. Rick says, would love to know more about things you've done to connect with your chest. So part of it is, you know, just actually regaining shoulder motion and, you know, proper function of the shoulders and the way they're supposed to move, way the scapula is supposed to move, to actually have access to that chest, right? So if you can get the shoulders to sit back to where they should be, the pec actually lengthens and you can get a good range of motion in it. So part of it is that, actually, you know, orthopedically being able to access the muscles the way you want. A lot of it is psychological, just a lot of thinking about the pec filling with blood and like just little like little mental cues that really help. One that works for me is thinking about like pushing through wet cement, or pushing through mud, or pushing and pulling through mud. That one resonates with me. The other one is actually like in on the negative, instead of lifting your chest up on the negative, actually thinking about inflating your lungs, and that makes the rib cage rise, and that will lengthen the pec from the inside out, right? So Danny's teaching me most of this shit. Some of it I've known or do know, and I'm just reprogramming my brain to address these things again, because things go in waves and everything like that. But the filling the lungs with air is a huge one that has helped me. Because if you fill those lungs up as big as you can, that will lift the rib cage and then give you more access to the pec muscle. So that's been helpful. The way Danny structures the sequence of training is very important. John was always big on that too. Um, Skip and AJ are big on that. A lot of them have similar concepts. Kind of activate the muscle first, get blood in there, get a pump going, then do more compound type stuff after, more explosive stuff, and then ultimately finishing with some type of stretch or like supra pump type work. So that's the nice thing about Danny writing my programming. And I'll just be honest, I can pick anyone in the world to write my programming. I would pick Danny every single time. Um, she has a good combination of being a doctor, so there is science based, and she's also just a bro. As much as I mean that respectfully, she would be okay with me saying that. She's just a bro. She likes fucking training. She likes training hard. Her husband trains hard. He's jacked as fuck. So it's a good blend of what I agree with, what I align with, and that's how you pick a coach. You pick a coach based off things that you believe make sense, and that you can align with. So Danny and I align very well with our philosophies and things like that on training, and we work well together. So very happy with her and what she's done for me so far. So yeah, that's some of the things, Rick. The big one of the biggest ones was the inflating the lungs, and then the other thing is like in the bottom of a movement, you'll see it on people's. You'll see it in people's training. Well, I can now that Danny pointed it out, but um, when you're in the bottom of a movement, keeping the weight on the active muscle and not offloading the weight onto passive structures. So what I mean is, like, if you're in the bottom of a press, I'm actively thinking about keeping those pecs on and holding the weight with my pecs instead of holding the weight on my elbows, triceps, and lats. Because hell, I could hold fucking 600 pounds at the bottom and just chill there. But if I try to do that on my pec, if I try to hold 600 pounds with just my pecs, they'd fucking tear off the bone. So the difference between active structures or active muscles and passive structures, learning the difference between those is huge. So those are some of the things, Rick. Jared says, I love having a home gym. Yeah, it's for me, it's the best way to train. Nathan says, on your site, it says the programs include 1 hour private phone calls once a month. Is that upon request or do you schedule them? No, I do not schedule them unless you need it. I don't like taking a 1 hour phone call unless you need it. So no. If you need that, then you know how to contact me. So, but no, those are there if you need them. They're not to be just. If we have nothing to talk about for an hour, love you, but I don't want to talk to you for an hour unless you need something. And most people don't end up needing those phone calls because most of you are texting me 35 fucking times a day, which I'm responding to everyone. So take that for what you will. J Money, through the mud. Yeah, yeah, pushing through the mud, even pulling the lat movements, the back movements. I even think about um, hamstring curls, like dragging my heels through mud. That one works too, Jay. You should try that. Helped with connecting to my chest so much, alongside putting the body in proper positioning. Yeah, yeah, that's huge. Um, yeah, that is huge, Jay. I'm glad you said that. Picking movements that just fit, right? Um, Picking machines that you just fit in well, and you're not contorted and everything, like your shoulders are sitting where they should, and you didn't have to do anything fucking funny to get in there. Especially like dumbbell side raises. Like let that motherfucker go where it wants to go instead of like trying to pinch your shoulders back. You end up using your traps and all that stupid crazy shit. So, yeah, good point, Jay. Mark, I bought the tsunami bar I saw in your training videos. WTF? This thing provides great isolation. Can you describe how you integrated the lat bar into your back workouts? Yeah, the tsunami shit. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, it intentionally flexes. Is that a fucking word? It intentionally has a flex to it. Um, so the tsunami bar is fucking sweet. Because like, let's say for a lat pull down, it starts bending first, and like it activates your lats first, and then you can pull it into you. So it works really well for a lot of different movements. I like it for lat pull downs, and I also like it for straight arm pull downs because you can kind of flex it and then pull down. Yeah, the tsunami stuff is cool. I even have D handles that the grips are tsunami grips. So like when you're pressing, they kind of flex and they kind of form around your hand as you're pressing. It's just a really comfortable feel, and it gives you kind of that proprioception of it gives you that feel of pushing and dragging through mud because the bar is flexing. So yeah, kind of cool. How to integrate the lat bar into your back workouts? Just use it. Just use it. Or if you're going to do a lat pull down, just use that attachment. There's no special way. Um, have you ever seen enzymes elevated from EQ's conversion to DHB? No, no, and it's hard to say that that's specifically why your liver enzymes are elevated to begin with. You know, most people's are elevated just from training. Um, but no, I don't get any side effects from EQ besides being fucking awesome. That's all EQ does to me. Just makes me awesome. Um, so I just run it all the time. If you want to be awesome, that's not advice. I've also taken a lot of DHB with absolutely no issues. Um, that's not a recommendation because I think it is nasty for some people. But I've taken a ton of it and I had no issues, minus one really bad infection from injection site, and that was my last time using it, and I'll never use it again. And I don't know if it was from that specifically, but if you've ever taken the shit, it hurts like fucking hell. Um, in my opinion, if something hurts that bad, it has to be causing systemic inflammation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But when you shoot something and it hurts and it fucking cripples you, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel great about putting that in my body. Um, and I have a pretty high tolerance for PIP, and DHB bit me hard a couple times, and then after that leg infection, yeah, I never touched the shit again. Um, but if no, it's hard to say. You know, your liver enzymes. If you're talking about you specifically, your liver enzymes could very, very likely just be elevated from training, from muscle damage. So the best thing to do would be, you know, first get your GGT assessed and make sure that's in range. And if that's good, you're probably good. It's still okay to address high AST and ALT. I know a lot of the times, even you guys will hear me say, well, those don't fucking matter. They kind of matter. They kind of matter. So, and the reason I say that is because the liver does have other functions, and if you can keep the enzymes in a better range, I mean, why not do it, right? So, some TUDCA and stuff, some injectable glutathione, like those things are probably still good to have in place. But yeah, more than likely, elevated liver enzymes, I don't really dive too far into them. If they're over 100, 150, a lot of the times I am going to be, suggesting glutathione, injectable glutathione, or TUDCA, and then you want to, make sure digestion's good. You might need some, bile acids as well, like ox bile or something like that. But yeah, as far as liver enzymes, you're not in like really bad shape until you're 400, 500,000. That's scary shit. If you ever see enzymes like that, that's scary shit. That's a bad day for you, brother. Bad day to be your blood work. So yeah, don't let them get that high. I've had them. The highest I've had them ever is 300, and that was like a brutal like prep, you know. And I did that to myself. So um, Rick says, "Thank you for the chest info." You're welcome, Rick. Yeah, I'm trying to put more of my training out. I got backed up on doing it, and I need to get a better program so I can do it easier. It just takes so fucking long to do. So that's why I haven't done those lately, but I am going to start doing those again for you guys. Um, yeah, you're welcome, dude. Yeah, it would be very difficult to say like, oh yeah, this EQ converting to DHB is why my liver enzymes are high. That would be very hard to pinpoint that that's the reason for elevated enzymes. So Rodney says, if you were to drop Primo and add EQ, would half your SIP dose be a good starting point? And then check blood work like 4 weeks later? Yeah, I would probably start there. Yeah. And some people, man, like fucking EQ will absolutely destroy, destroy their estradiol. Like fucking bottom it out with like surprisingly low doses. So yeah, just start conservative. And no, there's no minimum effective dose for EQ. Like everyone thinks they need to run EQ at like a fucking gram. You guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. Like, yeah, EQ doesn't work until you run 800. It's like, fucking says who? It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You know, um, have I run it that high? Yeah. Why not? Okay. But that doesn't mean like just because I've run it at 800 to a gram doesn't mean that 300 or even 200 doesn't do anything. That's crazy. What is 200 milligrams of equipoise? Well, I don't know. It's 200% more than what the fuck you were taking. So tell me that doesn't do anything. Yeah, wild when I hear shit like that. Matt Ramos in the house. Hello, Matthew. See, what leg press hack machine do you have? I have the Titan Fitness one. Yeah, it's good. It's good for the cost, and I got it years ago, so I got it even cheaper. But even at I think that goes for like $1,600 now. Even at that rate, it's still quite a good deal in my opinion. Um, the there's another brand out there, GW fucking something. It's 4 letters. You'll find it's probably going to show up on your Instagram now that I'm talking about it. You'll get a million fucking ads for it. GWDFFD, I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat knows. They make a decent one too. See, so that's one. That's one you could look at too. But I have the Titan one. I think it's pretty good, honestly. Adam, what's up, Adam? Adam is, I don't know, 15 weeks out, something like that. Matt is like 13 or 14, something like that. Their shows are pretty close together. Yeah, 14 weeks tomorrow. I said Adam. Let's see if I can pull up a calendar. Yeah, Matt's is somewhere around there too. 13 weeks. Yep. Cool. Cool. Yeah, that'll be good. It's always fun prepping people for shows. And I will be at Matt's show. So that will be cool too. Let's see if I missed anything. One more question about liver enzymes. Yes, of course, it's okay. Does Tren elevate liver enzymes? I haven't seen it myself. No. No, I haven't seen it myself. I'm sure it could. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it could. You know what? Primo can elevate liver enzymes too. Really, anything can. And I know it's not as common because they're injectables, but um, injectables can be methylated too. So um, that's something to remember. Is that you know we assume that because things are injectable that like we're automatically just safe. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, that's something to remember. So yeah, I'm sure it could. I just haven't seen it myself personally. Um, but yeah, I'm sure it's possible. How often do you recommend getting blood work done? And how often do you recommend massage and chiropractic? Blood work um, in the off season, um, every 4 to 6 months. And then you can get little things checked here and there. Um, you know, if you're concerned about something or if you're trying to address or diagnose something, then yeah, maybe more frequently. But in the off season, 4 to 6 months, I think, is okay in my opinion. Um, if you want to be more strict, every 3 months. Every 3 months. Um, In prep, I like to get it done a few times during prep, um, just to see what the thyroid is doing, kind of see what the estradiol is doing, and it can help you peak. You kind of want to see what the electrolytes are doing, and if something's like crazy down regulated, I mean, man, like if your thyroid's fucked, prep could be a lot harder than it has to be. You know, if your TSH is through the fucking roof and your reverse T3 is, 50, that's an easy adjustment to fix. And all of a sudden, your metabolism's cranking again when you fix those things. So yeah, I mean, people don't want to get blood work done during prep because they're like, oh, it's gonna look like shit. And it's like, it doesn't. It doesn't always. It's so sometimes it will surprise you, like, oh, it's not so bad. I'm on a lot of shit. So, um, no, I think it's good to get blood work done 1 to 2, maybe even 3 times during prep. Just see what's up, right? If there's a small adjustment you can make, to a thyroid medication or whatever else it may be, if there's a lot of adrenal insufficiency and you can correct something like that, man, you can bring someone's whole fucking demeanor back and their energy back, just by addressing small little things on blood work, low hanging fruit all the time. No, you're not going to fix anyone's HDL during prep. But fuck, you can fix their thyroid, that's for sure, or at least bandage it up for a little. Massage work minimum once a month. Absolutely minimum. I'd recommend every other week if possible. Chiropractic as needed. Um, Sometimes the same person does both. Sometimes. Um, I have 2 different people for that. My chiropractor, I normally only see when something's really fucked up, and she knows that about me. So, but she's cool. Um, as far as massage, my friend Clarissa does all my massage work. I try to see her once a month at minimum. Um, she's very busy. She is a hot commodity around here for bodybuilders. Um, so her scheduling does fill up quickly. So I try to stay on her schedule, or I try to go on her cancellation, call me if someone, you know, cancels their appointment type thing. I try to get on that list as well. Adam says, how's your prep going, dude? Sorry if I missed it. I jumped in late, per usual. Yeah, Adam, I wasn't talking about my prep anyways. um, it's going good. It's fine. It's just prep stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's going well. It's going to be my best look to date, for sure, without a doubt. Um, I might start pulling back on how much I post about it and just post like one like check in like a week out, maybe, or not at all. I don't know. Haven't decided. It's not like I'm something fucking special and I'm trying to hide like this incredible physique. I just think it would kind of be fun for my own entertainment and for my clients that are watching because they're gonna be like, "Where the fuck did this guy go?" But yeah. Joe asks, where would you start SS31 and injectable 5 amino? Man, I don't know about the injectable 5 amino. I take 100 orally. Um, I would keep it. I would keep it the same if I was going to use injectable. SS31, I've seen it run as high as a milligram a day. Um, that seems pretty standard from what I've seen. I'm not using that one, Joe. And I don't have a ton of experience with the SS31. Um, I prefer the main ones I like right now are the Slew, Motzi. I do use the Retta, um, and the 5 amino. I could take it or leave it. Um, but those are the ones that I'm enjoying right now. The Motzi is now starting to kind of show face, and I am starting to see a difference with it. Because at first I'm like, nah, I don't really think this is doing anything. And then within like a couple weeks, it was very subtle, but I'm like, okay, my energy seems a lot more stable, a lot more stable. And I can attribute that to the Motzi because nothing else really changed. Um, yeah, so SS31, I think 1 milligram a day, and the 5 amino, I would do 100 of that. Um, but yeah, like I said, I haven't used the SS31 much. Um, sorry, let me see. Okay. Adam says, oh, he's talking to Matt. He said, when I went to get muscle work done for the first time, so much was out of whack. She recommended coming back a week later. Then once things are good to go, a month to kind of maintain. Yeah, that seems right. Yeah. Um, Matt says his prep is going smooth. Yeah, we just keep adding food for Matt. His prep is much different than some. Um, don't tell it. Sorry, Adam, but yeah, Matt's getting more food while you get less. I'm basically taking your food and I'm cutting it out of your document and just pasting it into Matt's. So that's where all your food's going. So you can thank him when you're fucking starving. Brett, my man, what's good, coach? Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It is all good. What are your thoughts on low dose tren? I see YouTubers talking about benefits at 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams a week. Yeah, I think it's fine. At 50 is stupid. I wouldn't waste a syringe. Um, what the fuck are you going to take? What, 5 milligrams a day? I wouldn't, or whatever, between 5 and 10 milligrams a day. I wouldn't waste the syringe. I would take an extra Anavar or Winstrol. Why use the tren if you're going to run it so low? 100, I can make an argument for. I think that's a good spot. I think anything over 400 is probably overkill for most. I would say, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Um, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't love seeing anyone in the 600 to 800 range. I would not love seeing that. And I'm talking about ACE in like prep. In the off season, I've seen Tren E. I've seen it run in the 600 to 800 with not a lot of side effects, and not terrible blood work either. Just saying. Just saying. I think it's GWMD. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, if I say it again, it's going to be all over my fucking Instagram ads. So I'm not going to repeat that. Diesel Dave, is there a type of personality you find to be most successful in bodybuilding? One that can handle the diet, training, and possibly the chemicals. Yeah, you are, Dave. You are the personality that becomes most successful in bodybuilding. And I'm not saying that to toot your horn or to blow you up or to even make a joke, but your personality is the best bodybuilder. And if you guys are thinking, if you're thinking, well, what is Dave's personality? He's extremely chill. Nothing bothers him. He's always positive, very happy, very low stress, executes everything, doesn't miss anything, doesn't make excuses, literally tore his fucking groin. And he's like, man, I'm just learning so much from this. He's like, I'm so glad this happened. I'm so glad that I tore my fucking groin because I've learned so much about training and rehab. The dude just injured himself and he was talking about how grateful he was to be injured. That's the personality that is the most successful in bodybuilding. That is, if you can literally keep stress as low as possible, and that's it. Bodybuilders are ruined by anxiety. They're crippled with anxiety, with insecurity, with all sorts of fucking mental problems. And that's why they never become really successful. Or if they do, it's very short lived. And a lot of pro bodybuilders are very open about this. Um, so they're very open about the struggles with mental health. And it wrecks bodybuilders. Yep. So the personality to be most successful is your personality, Dave. Chill, grateful, just does it for the love. Dave doesn't do it to get famous on the internet. Nope. The internet could fucking disappear and Dave would be banging. He would be banging and he'd be following his fucking diet. Guarantee it. 100%. That is the personality, Dave. Rodney says, thanks for your feedback. Back to work. Good day. Rodney, enjoy your day at work. Be safe. Mark says, I like seeing your week-to-week progress and hearing about your PEDs and diet. I don't talk about my PEDs. You know that. I don't talk about my diet either, Mark. You are a coach who walks the walk with your athletes, and that gives you the street cred. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do walk the walk. I'm never going to tell someone to do something that I'm not doing or that I have not done. Yeah, that's bullshit. There's so many fat, miserable, disgusting coaches out there. It's a joke. At least pretend like you lift weights and, like, I don't know, you can see your feet when you look down, right? Matt says, I usually run SS31 at 1 milligram Monday through Friday. Yeah, SS31, 1 milligram. And then the 5-amino injectable, Matt says he's run it around 2 to 3 milligrams a day. Yeah, that seems right. I don't know. Yeah, that's, I don't know. That seems kind of high, the 5-amino, but either way. Yeah, Adam said it at the same time. He said, Dave, you are the personality who's the most successful in bodybuilding. Yeah, Dave. And that we're not blowing smoke. That's like the truth. I mean, dude, the best bodybuilders are just fucking laid back. They're just chill. They're chill. They just love it. They just love the process. And that's it. Yep. I noticed zinc works as good as finasteride for me personally without the severe downregulation that comes with a 5-AR. What zinc dose? 15 to 30 milligrams, and then it should be paired with copper. I think it's 2 milligrams of copper per every 15 of zinc. You'd have to look it up. There's a lot of combination products out there that just come with the copper, and the ratio's already set for you. So yeah, 15 to 30 milligrams for zinc is pretty common. Adam says, I knew Matt was getting my food. Dude was ready at 18 weeks out. Yeah, Matt's in a good spot. I'm literally just trying to hold his weight and harden him up at the weight that he is. And then I'll just pull him down, like, I don't know, at 8 weeks out and just dry him out and throw him on stage. Yeah, it's going to be a very easy prep for Matt. Yeah, Adam, that's okay. You got a little fat after your show, but it happens. We've all done it. I'm going to make sure Tommy micromanages my rebound because I'll easily fuck it up on my own. You guys do not understand. Some of you do. Some of you do now because you've done the show. If you guys haven't done a show, you don't fucking know hungry until post-show rebound. Until you add that food back in and your body's like, yeah, just give me more. I need more of that. Like, just load it up. I need more. It's like literally unsatiable, like just ravenous, absolute ravenous hunger in post show. Post show is the hardest thing ever as far as dieting. Post show is incredibly challenging mentally because your show is over. You're absolutely fucking ravenous. But man, if you nail that post show, fuck, the runway is wide open, my friend, wide open, and you just keep chugging along. Yeah, it's a good time. It's not magic, but it works. J Money, on the topic of SLU, how do you like to dose it? I know Andrew Barry likes 5 days on, 2 days off. You have an opinion on a minimum dose? So as far as minimum doses, Jay, this is how I look at medicines and peptides as a whole. Whatever they're dosed at per whatever is normally the minimum dose. Example, Anavar comes in a 25 milligram pill or tablet or whatever the fuck. Okay, the minimum dose is 1. You know what I mean, Jay? So like SLU generally is coming in a 250 microgram tab. So the minimum dose is 1. That's just a cc of tests, 200, 250, 300, right? That's the minimum dose. That's 1. That's just how I look at shit, like just to keep it real simple. Obviously, there's nuances and stuff like that. So yeah, any minimum dose that I ever say, it's 1 unit of whatever, right? How do I dose it? I use it every day. I'm currently using 1,000. So I'm taking 500 in the morning, and then I'm taking 500 with meal 3, which is around 10:30. Some people I have it split up into 3 doses, depending on what their tablet is, dosed at, and things like that. But yeah, 250 is very fucking low. Most people, they're not really gonna feel anything from that, but that doesn't mean it's not effective. You don't have to feel something for it to be effective. But Andrew does the 5 days on, 2 days off. I just run it every day. I would just run it every day. You probably don't want to stay on it forever. It probably should be cycled at some point, in my opinion. There's not a ton of information on long-term shit about it yet. But it works great. I noticed it. That is one thing where I added it, and I actually did notice it. Because I'm always skeptical. I always approach things with skepticism at first, with good reason, you know, because guys, I've looked for the secrets. I've looked for all the secrets. I'm still looking for them. They're not there. There's nothing magical about any of this shit. It's all just it's all just a part of it. All of it works, and none of it is the next big thing. But yes, Slew's great. 250, you could start there. 500 would probably be fine starting at. But um, yeah, I think Slew's great. Um, I may know a place to get it. Might be in my Instagram links. I don't know. Can't say it on YouTube. Mark, I hope everyone shares before and after photos as you get to stage. Tommy had me shredded beyond belief. Pros told me I was the most shredded person at the show. Kudos to Tommy. Um, Thank you, Mark. I am. I don't want to sound like an asshole when I say this. I am starting to get a trademark look from some of my athletes. And that's because I look up to AJ and Skip so much. And those two, you can put 6 athletes in front of me, and I can tell you which ones were prepped by AJ or Skip. And I am trying to develop that trademark look for my athletes. Um, yeah, yeah, Mark, you were absolutely shredded. The last 2 athletes that I put on stage, Austin and Stacy, they also had a lot of nice comments passed their way about their condition. And guys, I don't take fucking credit for any of that shit. I don't take credit for it. I think it's silly. But I will admit that I'm a part of it in a small fraction of a way. The athletes do the work, but of course, there's things that I'm doing that help them get there. But yeah, so that's long story short. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I'm trying to build that trademark look of, guys, go look at fucking AJ's Instagram or Skip's Instagram. Go look at those 2 coaches' Instagrams and look at their athletes and just let me know. Let me know what you think. There's Austin. What's up, fellas? Dylan made it. Dylan's always working. Dylan is always working. That's why Dylan has nice things. That's why Dylan's a good person, because he's a hard worker. Um, Upper body today for Dylan. Time to get huge. Dylan is getting huge. He's fucking massive. It's wild. It's wild. He's another guy that just follows the plan. Jay says, Dylan stole my muscle mass, that asshole. Yeah, Dylan stole a lot of our muscle mass. Adam, dropping Retta a week after the show was insane. Yeah, I don't recommend that. I do not recommend that. That's probably the time to add Retta. There's no bad time. Guys, I was just a year ago, even a year and a half ago, I was probably the last guy to jump on board with the semaglutide and the retatrutide and I was probably the last guy to jump on board. And I was so silly for it. And that is because of the old school dogmatic thinking that was burnt into my brain from being a dumb fucking meathead for so long. And my theory was it still kind of is, because I'll tell you when you add those things. I'll tell you when you add them. But first, let me just say my my dogmatic thinking was you should be able to get in shape without that. And I still think you should. I still think you should be able to get in shape without those drugs. Here's the thing. The person who suffers more, that doesn't win the show technically. In our mind it does. Because I'm really suffering, I'm really gonna fucking show up. Yeah, well, the guy using 4 milligrams of Retta, he's working just as fucking hard as you, but he can make it to his next meal without fucking pulling some guy out of the car in traffic and beating the shit out of him, or someone looks at him in the grocery store and he starts an argument because he's so hungry. Like, what if we could just, I don't know, and of course the GLPs are not just for appetite suppression, but in this context that I'm speaking about, what if we could lower that irritability and not be so fucking miserable and still be able to do what we love? You know, bodybuilding doesn't have to be suffering. You don't have to give up your family. You don't have to lose all your friends. You don't have to spend your fucking paycheck on drugs. You don't have to do all this crazy shit that people think you do. And that was me. That was me. There's still a little bit of that in me. There's still a little dumb fucking meathead in me. But I have come to terms with that, and I've seen the success with the use in myself and other athletes. But yeah, as far as when to add it, lifestyle people, you need to get the needle moving. The needle being fat loss. You need to get that needle moving before you add anything. Anything. Fucking anything. You can be on your TRT, that's fine. And your over the counter supplements, your EAAs, your pre workout drinks, whatever the fuck. Okay, great. Start those things. Wonderful. Get the fucking needle moving. Get it moving, right? Start making progress with yourself and discipline, and start learning that process if you've never done it before. If you've been a fat ass your whole life, you need to learn how to not be a fat ass without using drugs. You need to learn the lifestyle first. Then, when you need assistance, like, hey, this is getting pretty fucking bad. Like, well, yeah, you're down 20 pounds. This is great. Okay, cool. Let's add a little bit of this. Because now it's going to quiet some of that noise for you. And let's keep pushing further. Okay, great. Right? It's like a rest stop in the destination. Get as far as you can drive before you have to take a piss, right? You know, like, you know that feeling where you're on a road trip and you're like, I think I'm good for another half an hour, another 45 minutes before I got to take a piss. Okay, that's how I look at weight loss and fat loss. Get the car moving, get on the road, get on the highway, start that travel to that destination. And then, oh man, okay, it's time. We're at a good stopping point. We're X amount of miles away. This is a good time to take a piss. This is a good time to add those things, right? That's how I look at things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've gotten a lot of people in really good shape. So I'll just say that. Competitors, when to use it. If it's your first competition, get the needle moving. Feel that suffering a little. It's good for you. It's good for you. It builds character. And it's not like the GLPs just take all your hunger away. For some, it will, but for most, it won't. You're still gonna be hungry as fuck. I'm still hungry as fuck. I promise. But same thing with competitors, especially first-time competitors. Get that needle moving. Feel that prep, that good old-fashioned prep. Feel that. Love that. And embrace that suck. And then when you need it, add it in. Add it in, right? Um, you know, advanced competitors, probably something you can add from the beginning, in my opinion. In my opinion, assuming digestion's good, everything like that. Off season, keeping a little bit in the background, probably a good idea as far as health benefits, managing blood work, managing insulin sensitivity, counteracting some of the side effects from growth hormone use, even anabolic use, the cholesterol numbers, things like that. Addressing fatty liver, you know. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Post show, yeah, you're probably gonna want it in. You're probably gonna want it in. Yeah. Brett says, speaking of dieting, I'm thinking 2 boxes of crumble cookie for skip load today. I don't think you could eat 2 boxes of cookies. I would bet you a lot of money that you couldn't, because I've tried, and I promise I can skip load harder than you. I promise. Skip, the man himself, told me that I probably had some of the biggest skip loading meals he's ever seen, ever. That's the man himself. And that's not, I've always been I've always had a ravenous appetite forever, forever. Um, yeah, yeah, my appetite is insatiable. Yeah, it's an endless pit. Mark says my hunger post show is way worse than show prep. Oh yeah, and I try to keep you guys hungry for as long as possible. I really do. It's good. It's a good thing. Matt says back. Talking about SLU, huh? What are you talking about, Matt? All right, keep this rolling. I'll be right back. Damn, I didn't lose any of you. That's pretty good. Okay. Sorry about that. Back talking about SLU. Yes, SLU has been phenomenal for me at 1,000 micrograms, split into 3 doses. I feel like I got tighter every day for 2 weeks. Yeah, SLU works good. Oh, Dave. You're a bad man, Diesel Dave. Dave says, when are you picking up a supercar? What would be your choice, your car of choice, if money and availability were not an issue? Fuck. Man, I that's that's really hard for me. That's very hard for me. That's like asking me what my favorite band is or who my favorite music artist is. I'm cars are one of my things. I've been passionate about cars since I was a kid. Um, it's so fucking hard for me to pick. It's it's so incredibly hard for me to pick um, a, just one car. Just I don't. It would be so hard for me, Dave. Um, Dude, I could rattle off. I have like a top 10. Like I have a top 10 reasonable car that I want. And then I have a top 10 supercar. I have top 10 like SUVs. Like, dude, I have a car for like every function. You know what I mean? Like I could pick 10 trucks that I like. Um, but man, I'm a huge 812 Superfast fan, Ferrari 812 Superfast. Um, Huge fan of those. As far as like reasonable potential car for maybe not this year, I told my wife that I'm going to try not to purchase a car during contest prep. I like Shelby's, the GT500 or GT350s. Um, it's very possible that that will be the next car that I purchase. Other considerations would be like an M3, a BMW M3. Those are like reasonable, somewhat within reach for me, right? Um, Above that tier would be things like GTRs, the GT3 RS. Um, you know, I like the C8 Corvettes, but I do want to have at least a small back seat um, for the future for my son if my wife and son want to go to car shows and stuff with me. I would like to be able to have a back seat to bring them along, right? So, like a GT500 or a GT350, as long as it's not the R version, those have at least small back seats. Like a C8 Corvette, you're not going to get a back seat. Um, I like the new Toyota Supras, but again, there's no back seat in those. So I do want to have a back seat in the next sports car that I get, just for that reason. So if we do want to go, and I would like to go to more car shows and have that be like a family thing that we do on the regular because I think that's a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, supercars. Ferrari is one of my top supercars. I like the Ford GT. Um, McLarens are cool and stuff. Lamborghinis are cool, but I'm more of a Ferrari as far as like actual supercars. I'm more of a Ferrari type guy. Um, Mark says, oh, they're talking about some other shit. Brett says, I don't know what it is with Greta, but I'm less hungry now than I've been the entire cut. I was ravenous for a while, but now I'm just kind of getting the meals down, but not deciding on. Yeah, it's different for everyone too. I've seen people take 1 milligram and they can't fucking eat a goddamn thing. So Yeah, it's different for everyone. Um, Crunchy says we need an eating competition. Oh God, no. Adam's singing rap songs. Austin, crumble always makes me feel like shit. And then I realize how many calories are in each cookie. Yeah, crumble fucking. If something destroys me, it's either ice cream or crumble cookie. Those two things will fucking wreak havoc on my body. Yeah, no, yeah, no chance. Mark says I stopped letting my wife drive on road trips because she would not stop when I had to take a piss. Yeah, I get that. I can hardly drive an hour before I have to take a piss. It's terrible. Yeah, Brett said he would do a Ferrari. Yeah, Ferraris are sick. Joe, what do you use for step activity tracker at the moment? Um, just my Aura ring, and it's not extremely accurate. Um, I did have I still have a Garmin watch. I stopped wearing it because I would have to take it off when I was training certain things. Like if I was using wrist cuffs for like shoulder raises, I'd have to take the watch off. Or if I was training back with straps, I'd have to take the watch off. Um, so I just use the Aura ring as my wedding ring. So that's kind of what I use for the most part. But I do like the Apple Watch. I think it looks nice. Um, but yeah, right now, Joe, I can't remember if you're married yet or not. Um, but I do just use the Aura ring right now. But the Garmin is very nice as far as how many things it tracks. It's just so bulky. It's so incredibly bulky, but it's so accurate. Like, and it gives you so much feedback and data points. Um, so the Garmin is probably one of the higher tier trackers out there. It's just so bulky. It's huge. It's massive, and it's kind of heavy, like on your wrist. It's just a big bulky fucking thing. Um, at least the one I had, which I don't know the model or anything. I can't remember. Jay says, with the talk of appetite, do you have any approaches for increasing it during the off season? Just take 3 grams of EQ and force the food down. Um, for myself, I don't need to increase my appetite ever. I'm always hungry. Um, my appetite doesn't ever really go away much. And if it is starting to go away, you might be too far in your off season, or you might just need a week off the heavy food load. Like people want a mini diet for like 6, 8 weeks. I think that's crazy. I think you can really change things in 7 days. And when I say that, people are like, "Oh no, fucking way!" You can, and if you can't, you got too fat. Um, but really, one really good way to do it, Jay, um, is actually to reduce training. So this would be a good time to do your deload as well. Um, you would reduce training. You would decrease protein intake. You'll likely decrease fat intake, and you'll increase fruit intake. You'll decrease starches. So it's going to be kind of like a low protein, higher fruit. And that would be a good time to be like running high doses of MOTS-c and some of these other mitochondrial supplements and peptides. And really, you can change a lot in 7 days and you'll come back really fucking fresh. That's how I do mini cuts for most people is they last 7 to 10 days long. And in that time period, we're reducing protein, we're focusing on antioxidants, mitochondrial health, and reducing systemic stress and inflammation by reducing training load, reducing cardio. Everything is just steps. and things like that. So that's how you do like we'll call it a mini cut. But yeah, 7-10 days is really all most people need. If you need more than that, then you got too fat to begin with. Other things for appetite, keeping digestion good, not drinking. Some of you guys are drinking like 5 fucking gallons of water a day. It's insane. I don't advise that. Um, there's a good product by Project AD um, called Ravenous. I've talked about that on here before. That one's good for appetite as far as like supplementation. Um, but keeping motility good, keeping daily steps high forever, always, always, walking after meals. You should never lose your appetite, and then you don't have to worry about regaining it. You should never lose your appetite. And if you did, you took something too far. You took something too far for too long. Um, so that's my approach with keeping appetite high. Brett says the McLaren 600. Yeah, McLaren. Yeah, any McLaren, even the fucking cheap ones, cheap, right? The entry level McLarens are still badass shit. Mark says for tightening loose skin for older athletes. GHK copper, and it seems to be helping. Yeah, copper works. I use Glow. I'm not an older athlete. I don't really have loose skin, but I use the Glow anyways, just because it helps in the background, and I get my BPC from it and whatever, right? So I do like that product. I feel like I've been using it around my glute area and lower back, just to see if it helps this prep by helping to keep everything tight there. Your skin gets looser as you get older, so just don't get older, and it'll stay tighter. But part of loose skin is, the peak and how you do or don't fill out, and you want a good balance between filling out and not spilling, and it can be tricky. Adam says a 1980 Chevy C10. Get out of here, Adam. It's trash. It's garbage. Mark says you can add a trailer hitch in a trailer if you don't have a back seat. My parents threw us kids in the back of a pickup truck when we went on vacation while they all sat up front. No, we're just talking about going to car shows. I don't know. Matt says the Aston Martin Vanquish. Yeah, Aston Martins are fucking sweet. All Porsches are sweet. They're good shit. Aston Martin is very, very nice. I worked for a guy when I was a kid. He owned the local Jimmy John's. He had a couple Aston Martins, and then he got rid of them for like a Jaguar. And he's like, man, nothing drove like those fucking Aston Martins. And he regretted buying that Jaguar so much. And yeah, so he's driven a lot of cars. He's had a lot of really nice cars. And he told me, he's like, nothing quite drove like the Aston Martin. And that's actually what I hear about those Nissan GTRs. I was talking to one guy who owns a vinyl wrap company, and he's like, the fucking thing just drives itself. And some people hate that, but he's like, it'll turn any shitty driver into a fucking race car driver. And I think that's cool. Yeah, Brett says he doesn't do well with ice cream. Yeah, but you can just use, Ninja Creamies or whatever. Adam, you're not getting ice cream or cookies. Joe's Aura ring with GH hands. My old one doesn't fit anymore. I'm in prep, dude, so I can wear shoes that are 3 sizes too small. I can do this fucking thing just comes right off now, you know? But yeah, it gets a little tight in the off season when the growth hormone is higher. I don't get too much water retention anymore from using GH. Even if I run like an underground lab, um, right now I am using Serostim. Um, but even with some of the underground lab stuff I was using, I didn't get too watery this year. The difference when I switched to over back to the Serostim was like it sounds weird, but I literally feel like whatever sub Q water I did have, it just got sucked into the fucking muscle somehow. It was like I know that sounds stupid, but like that's like what I imagined happened. Like it was literally within 3 days. And I looked at the photos and nothing else changed besides that. And I looked at the photos and I'm like, okay, my legs are more dry and separated. My midsection was more dry and separated. And I was just harder, drier, fuller all the way around. Does that mean it's worth 5, 6 times the cost? I don't know, guys. I can't tell you what's worth it or not. I don't know your finances. Um, I don't know any of that stuff, right? So right now, it's worth it for me to use the legitimate Serostim, um, especially in the contest prep. So right now, for me, it is worth it, regardless of the cost. I do not fucking care because I'm in prep and I do whatever prep asks me to do. And that's how I will bring the best look to stage. So, no, I'm not trying to save money anywhere right now. I'm just trying to bring the best look to stage. And if that costs me 6 times more for the growth hormone, then so be it. Just get this stuff for 50 cents an IU. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to. I don't want to risk it. Because let's say I get on stage and I take second place. Bummer. Now I have to ask myself, you saved X amount of dollars on your kits of growth hormone. Was it worth second place? And obviously, I don't know if that's the case, but that, as a person like me, that's what would go through my head. Like, man, I cut corners here to try to save some money. Now I got second place instead of first. And again, I don't know if that's like my brain would work for me personally. So right now I am using the Serostim. Am I against underground labs? No, I don't give a shit. As long as you don't get terrible side effects, fucking roll with it. Brett says the Apple Watch with a Velcro strap has been the most convenient for me. The 10 series 48 millimeter stays on for 2 days. Yeah. Yeah, the Apple Watch is pretty nice. The Garmin, though, dude, that battery lasts like, I don't know, like fucking like a month before you have to charge it. So that's super convenient. And it's pretty heavy duty. Like when I was doing heating and air, my Garmin, like the thing wouldn't even get scratched. My Apple Watch turned to a piece of shit when I was doing heating and air. Um, because you'd reach your hands in machines and shit and it'd get all scratched up. With that Garmin, like you couldn't break the thing if you tried. Have you caught any McLaren P1 series? I don't know who that is. Tavrish? That's probably a YouTuber? Yeah, I don't watch anyone's YouTube. Love y'all. I watch Chase, so I can stay up to date on what he's doing, what he's talking about. Um, I don't watch anyone else's YouTube anymore. It's just distraction for me. I love everyone out there. They're all doing great shit. They're all putting out great information. I just don't watch anyone's stuff anymore. It's it it's too much for me to metabolize. Too many opinions, too many differing opinions, too much noise. So the best way for me to correct that is by not listening to any of it and just not being involved with it. So I watch Amy's update videos just to see, because like I'll watch her content. It's good stuff. It's entertaining, but I'll watch it because she's one of my athletes, and I can pick up on things that she may have forgot to put in her check-in and stuff like that. So I'll be like, oh, I didn't even know that she thought about X, Y, and Z, or was feeling this way, or I didn't know that this exercise was bothering her, or shit like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, as far as like other big influencers, love y'all, but I just don't watch you. Don't watch you. Sometimes I'll click on them and just hit the thumbs up and bounce out. Um, but like, I can't watch like the news networks about like, oh, this dude's gonna win the Olympia. It's like, shut the fuck up. No one cares. Don't care. Oh, Phil's gonna make a comeback. No, don't care. Matt says I would love an old Skyline. I'd like any Skyline. Old, new, fucking broken. I don't care. I'd take any of them. Adam, do you think splitting GH doses during prep has an advantage over a bolus dose? Doesn't matter. When it, I say it doesn't matter, but there are cases and people where GH will actually disturb their sleep, or it will just fucking bury their HRV, or it will increase their resting heart rate too much. And you actually splitting it can help reduce that. But most of you are not running GH high enough where, that's going to be an issue. So, yeah, I don't know. I've done it as dramatic as taking like 1 to 2 IUs with every single meal, in between every single meal on like my non-training days. So I would eat a meal. 30 minutes later, I would take 1 to 3 IUs of GH and then repeat for all my meals of the day. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. It's not science-based or any of that stuff some of you care about. I felt it kept me more dry, and I felt I did wake up harder the next day. And maybe that's just because it was a non-training day with lower food and things like that. But I will say that I do feel, for me personally, that had a small effect. Was it something like dramatic? No, but I'm very in tune with even small changes. Yeah, measurable advantage. I don't know. Brett said, so you're saying I should allegedly procure some Chinese growth hormone? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I thought you were going to pull a Rich Piana, do whatever it takes. I mean, I do whatever it takes, but I don't, that doesn't make me a 5%er. It just makes me a bodybuilder, like any other bodybuilder that wants to win. Matt said I'm thinking about jumping on the GH train post-show. Yeah, it works. It's why we use it. It's why we spend the money on it. If it didn't work, I wouldn't take it. I would have I would have that GT500. I'll tell you that. So yeah, it works. It does. Promise. It's not a magic trick though. It's not some fucking. It's not the hidden secret. It works. It works. It works. It works. And it works in high doses. It does. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Garmin is the GOAT with these watches. I switch back and forth between the Apple. Yeah, the Garmin's really good. It's just bulky and uncomfortable. That's the only reason I don't wear mine anymore. But yeah, as far as tracking metrics and feedback, yeah, it does work. I've never heard of that, Mark. The Gospit watches on Amazon. They do biometrics and have alarms that I set for my 6 daily meals. Yeah, I've never heard of that, but I'm sure that works fine. Yeah, yeah. You guys don't need anything crazy. I don't think Joey's looking for anything crazy. Um, he just likes to keep track of his steps and his nocturnal resting heart rate, and some of the important shit that you guys should probably know what's going on. That it can be quite useful. Mark says my Apple Watch I wore for 2 weeks and decided I hated to charge daily. It's still sitting. Yeah, the Apple Watch dies pretty quick. I always just threw it on the charger when I would get in the shower. So whenever I was going to take a shower, I would just always throw my Apple Watch on the charger, and that seemed to have it pretty charged all the time. But some of you don't shower, so that's not going to work for you. Brett, if you have a client on growth hormone, do you make any changes for them nutrition-wise based on that? I don't really know much about growth hormone other than it grows you. I don't know that it just grows you. Food grows you. Drugs don't grow you. They won't. You can't just grow with drugs. So no, GH is not going to grow you. It'll put a lot of fucking water on some of you buffaloes. But growth hormone does not just magically grow muscle. You need to feed the muscle to grow it. Do I change nutrition? Yeah, sometimes you have to. Some guys get like terrible fucking water retention, especially off some of this cheap garbage they run. So you can do a couple different things. You can mess with the sodium potassium ratio, and that can help. Sometimes you have to be a little strategic with the carbs and the carb cycling, because heavy carbs and heavy growth hormone equals lots of fucking water, lots of blood pressure, high nocturnal resting heart rates, and very low HRVs. So yeah, sometimes things will have to be shifted around, or just don't run a ton of fucking shitty growth hormone, or be lean enough to actually, not blow up like a fucking buffalo. And those things normally take care of a lot of those issues. But yeah, sometimes you can play with the sodium potassium ratios a little bit and clean up some of that water. And that's a better approach than just throwing in hydrochlorothiazide like some of you guys want to do. That's not the first route to correcting water retention from growth hormone. That's not the first route. So Joey says, yeah, I don't need anything crazy. I've just loved the battery life and durability of my Garmin. Yeah, that fucking thing is wild. Especially if you have the one that charges like solar So like you can be outside walking the dog and it's charging your watch a little bit. But dude, that thing, man, it fucking I've gotten like 30 days of charge out of it, I think. It has like a timer next to the battery. It'll be like 30 days left. And it's like, wow, that's wild. So yeah, that thing, that's one really cool feature about the Garmin stuff is they last a long time as far as battery life. Um, Brett says I have a bedside wireless charger that does my phone, AirPods, watch. Yeah, they have those nice little all accompanied charging stations. Yeah, that shit's cool. Joey says I won't use 90% of the features since I'm not a marathon runner. I just need a new one. Y'all convinced me to stay with Garmin system family though. Yeah, the Garmin's fucking it's good. It's good. And I don't really the text message will come through on the Garmin. You just can't respond to them, and that's fine. I don't need to be texting you idiots off a watch too, you know. But yeah, the message will pop up. But yeah, you can't respond on all of them. I don't think. I don't think. I don't know for sure. But yeah, the Garmin is nice. There's a lot of shit you won't use, like Joey's saying. Um, but I think the other stuff does outweigh, you know, some of the other shit. Jay says I was dealing with some bad water issues in my initial off season at 10 IUs. Raymond increased water, or no, increased sodium, and all the water came off, and it hasn't come back. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the times, manipulating the electrolytes will fix some of that water retention, you know, from the growth hormone use. Um, yeah, sodium potassium ratios depends how much water you're drinking. Some guys, like I said, they're drinking too much water, just dead water, and they're just flushing fucking sodium and potassium out. Um, so yeah, some guys literally have to lower their water intake, and they're like, "Whoa, what do you mean? I thought I had to drink 9,000 ounces." It's like, chill, dude. Like, what the fuck? Mel says he likes his Garmin. Yeah, I think that's the one I have, the Phoenix 7 or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to look. Yeah, I won't be jumping out of planes and using the altitude meter. I didn't even know they had that. That's fucking wild. There was so much stuff on that watch that I didn't even know. I never even opened it. Back to bodybuilding, enough watch talk. Yeah, no shit. What's your favorite dense but cleaner carb source? Um, Running out of room for rice. Sourdough bread, sourdough pasta. Um, those are my favorites to add in for people when they're just rice the fuck out. You know, if you're eating 400 grams of cooked rice and like you're still just fucking ravenous, you need to add something that's a little slower. I don't know. Um, what's your coach's name? Ben. Sorry, I was drawing a blank. I don't know how Ben does his fats, but at some point, guys need to add fat um, to fucking slow that down. At some point, you need to add some fat, whether it's flaxseed oil, olive oil, in a low dose. At some point, you're going to need to add some fat. I do like oatmeal. Um, and the other thing, Joey, is after you cook your rice, putting it in the refrigerator right away, right after it's cooked, and leaving it in there for 8 to 12 hours before you eat it is going to help slow that response down and build some resistant starch, which is good for the gut and it's good for blood sugar levels, keeping them stable, more stable. There's not such peaks and things like that. So cooling your carbs right after you cook them is a good habit to get into. And that's what I recommend. But yeah, for cleaner carb sources, I like sourdough pasta. I like sourdough bread. Oatmeal is a slower, cleaner carb. I have been doing white potatoes. And again, I will put those in the fridge right after they're cooked. I won't consume them until, 12 hours later. So I'll always cook them the day before or whatever. So I do like potatoes. I've been doing, you know what, Joey? You should try cream of buckwheat. So cream of buckwheat is a good one to try. You can mix it in with your cream of rice. You can mix it in with your oatmeal. But it's just like another hot cereal, just like cream of rice. You can mix your protein powder in there. One of the meals I was doing was cream of buckwheat, protein powder, strawberries, and honey. And that was really, really good. That one was really good. I could eat that hot or cold. I would normally make it the day before, and I would eat it cold the next morning. And that was a really good texture and like flavor profile. And yeah, it was just I really like that meal. But again, I'm in prep, so my opinion doesn't matter as much because everything tastes. I'm pretty excited to eat all my meals right now. But yeah, the cream of buckwheat is one that you might like. There's a cereal brand called Lovebird, which is it's buckwheat based, and it's like a cleaner cereal. But that one you would like for post workout. I think you'd enjoy that. But yeah, sometimes, man, I don't know how many carbs you're eating per meal. Probably a lot because you're a big guy. But yeah, rice can get challenging at some point, for sure. He does about 10 grams of fat a meal. Okay, yeah, so you got some fat in there. He's big on beef. Yeah, that's a good call. I do lean beef at least once a day for people. Some people have it twice a day. My competitors, peak week, they're doing a lot of red meat. I think the red meat does help with fullness. I think it helps with energy. And I think it helps with the overall look from my experience, from what I've been seeing. Whether it's bison or, Austin used a lot of flank steak. I had Stacy using a lot of flank steak. It digested really, really well for them. And it was giving them a nice full hard look. So yeah, the red meat and peak week, man, red meat, even salmon. I know that sounds crazy, but I keep protein really low in the peak week. So the proteins that I do use, sorry, there's a big ass semi truck driving down. Our neighborhood is still being built, so there's some unbuilt homes here. Yeah, so during peak week, I keep protein really, really low. Like some of my guys are eating like 100 grams of protein total a day. And some of my girls are at like 50 to 80, really low shit. Because let's be honest, protein's not doing a whole lot at that point. It really isn't. And the waist will really, really draw in tight when you're not trying to digest all those proteins. Austin says, I've stayed much more dry after lowering water to a reasonable level. Yeah, Austin was a guy who was drinking a lot of dead water, and his aldosterone was smashed, from ARBs. We don't want to smash aldosterone. We don't want to just shut that system off. Yeah, it's good at controlling blood pressure to a point, but you don't want to fucking bury it, because you'll cause a lot of adrenal stress. So yeah, we addressed it. We addressed his aldosterone levels and his water intake. And like he said, he's way more dry by drinking less water. Like that's a thing, guys. Promise, I promise. Um, Joey says it's around 850 carbs a day, 100 in most meals, about 170 pre and post. Okay, 175 in shakes around the workout. I'm usually satisfied after a meal, but hungry at like 45 minutes. Um, yeah, try cooling those carbs. Try slowing those carbs down a bit. So right after you cook them, throw them in the fridge. You don't have to eat them cold. I do personally. But if you do reheat them, do so at a low temperature for like a short amount of time so you don't regain those, so you don't lose those resistant starches that you developed by cooling the carbs. That will help slow shit down a little bit, and it's going to help the postprandial numbers. And it's going to help gut health too. But as far as like clean carbs, if you're just trying to sneak shit in, local honey is great. Maple syrup, or like a high quality organic maple syrup. If you're having trouble just getting some carbs in, like that shit can go a long way. 20 grams of honey, um, you can add a good amount of carbs with just some stuff here and there like that. Um, so that's something to consider, is adding, local honey, maybe to your pre-workout, or post-workout. That you would like that Lovebird cereal, like I said. You can throw some honey in there, or maple syrup. That one's really good. Um, but yeah, that's a good amount of carbs that you're eating right now, especially if that's daily. Um, so yeah, I know that struggle. That's with 4.5 milligrams of Retta a week. Yeah, yeah, that's about as high as I've ever run the Retta. Um, I don't like to take people over 5. I have in scenarios, but yeah, 5, even when cutting, is about. It depends. Some people do okay, but some people, the motility will really start to slow down, especially if they're in a deep deficit and there's not much food and stuff going on anyways. Like you don't really want to bog the nutrition or the digestion down way too much. But Dylan says Joey's nuts. Yeah, that's a good amount of food. Yeah, but he's a big boy. You guys got to remember, he's damn near fucking 300 in his peak off season. And right now he's like, I don't know, 245 with abs. So yeah, he's a big boy. He needs to eat. Like that's a part of the game. And Joey knows that. He's done it for long enough where, he knows he needs to fucking eat. But here's the thing. He's not saying, hey, how do I get away with eating less? He's like, hey, I need to get these fucking carbs in. What should I do? He's just looking for the next solution to hit his numbers. So Joey's another guy who's, not going to make excuses. He's just going to do what it takes. Um, Blue Collar Dave. What's up, Dave? How are you? What's up, Tom? 4.5 weeks out now. Starting to get hungry and peeled. Hungry and peeled is the way to be. Hungry and peeled is the way to be. I am also hungry, Dave. So I'm happy to be on this journey with you. Very hungry. This is the hungriest I've been at whatever I am. I don't know. I think I'm 9 weeks out or something. I would have to look. I don't keep track of it well. I really don't. I'm really bad about that. I'm somewhere around there. Very hungry, but I'm in a good spot now, especially this week. Um, so yeah, Dave, excited for you. That's going to be a great look. I did see updates from you not long ago, and you are definitely getting peeled. So kudos to Dave. Joey, he keeps adding food since the morning check-ins are relatively flat. Yeah, yeah. Post-workout is full as hell. But my Humalog and yeah, Humalog and glycerol, yeah. If that doesn't give you a pump, I'm not sure what will, honestly. Um, yeah, that's a good combo there. Yeah, and some guys, Joey, they lose a ton of water overnight. Um, just from the process of lying down, um, and the elimination that happened. I've seen Austin was one. Sometimes he was dropping 5-6 pounds from morning to night. So that's all good stuff to track when you are ready to do a show, because that will be important on hitting your peak. So yeah, knowing those things, um, like for you, Ben might load you harder at night before you go to bed, um, and start tracking how you're waking up, because the show is probably going to be in the morning. You're prejudging, so he'll probably load you pretty hard, um, the night before or several nights before leading up to the show, and then try to nail that peak that way. Um, and yeah, some guys wake up really flat. I do. I do for sure. Um, I lose a lot of water nowadays. Back in the day, I just fucking held water like crazy. But now, part of it is I have more muscle. Um, my electrolytes are much more balanced because I'm not over consuming dead water, and things like that. So, appreciate the advice, by the way. Been doing honey and dates, with the pre and post. Yeah, yeah, sneaking that stuff in is going to help a lot. Man, my friend Scott, you guys know Scott Mize. He had to use like ginger ale and things like that at one point, because man, he was eating so many carbs that, the Dom was basically just get him in however he can at that point. So he was using ginger ale for some of his carbs. So he had to start drinking some of his carbs, which is another option. You know, um, I've done dextrose powder on rice. I've done that. Um, yeah, lots of different ways to sneak in relatively clean carbs, um, that are more palatable and that go down easy. You know, let's see. Raymond says, "Goddamn, Joe." Yeah, Joey. Here's the thing, guys. Here's what you have to remember is, when you do this longer for a longer period of time, more years, and you gain the size and the muscle mass, guys, like, you burn fat quicker because you have more muscle. You need to keep the muscle, so you have to fucking feed it. And the answer is normally build more muscle. Build more muscle, and your preps will be easier. You will get leaner quicker, and you can do higher calories in preps because you actually have muscle to maintain. And that's not a shot or a call out at anyone, but it's just something to remember. Like, Joey's been bodybuilding a while now. He has a lot of muscle mass. He can get lean very quickly, and he can keep his food high because he has all that muscle to support it and to use it. Um, so Diesel Dave, I don't know if he's still in here. His first prep, he was eating like fuck all. He was eating nothing. Um, and now this prep, I mean, I don't know. He's like, I think his first show, he was 165 pounds on stage or something. He weighed in at like 220, and his glutes are coming in. Like, guys, it's wild. He's gonna be 50 pounds heavier on stage this year. Um, and he's eating more this prep than he did his last prep. He's eating more for sure. Raymond is the same way. We were able to even push his food up during this prep. The last prep was just dig, 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 dig. because it was his first prep. And the muscle maturity and the muscle mass wasn't there yet. Now he has more muscle, and the prep is different. It requires a different thing. And that thing is food, more food, and more muscles. Dylan says we have a lot of run room. I'm eating about nothing in a good way, no complaints. Yeah, you're still growing. Still growing. Enjoy that. Close to my last show, I was losing like 8 pounds overnight. Yeah. Yeah. And he says I was a lot smaller then. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Brett said we did dextrose when we started. Brett, you were using an intra drink. You were using highly branched cyclic dextrin during your workout. I'm sure Joey's using an intra drink. I think his coach uses those. I'm pretty sure. J Money, I lose 5 to 6 pounds a night on average. I don't wake up too flat, but certainly dry every morning. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's something to keep track of, especially as you guys, like I said, when you get ready for a show, you're going to want to know how much you typically lose overnight. And then your coach can play the game of, okay, I know Jay normally loses 5 to 6 pounds overnight. Here's the weight that I would expect him to look best at, right? So, okay, let's say Jay looks best at 180. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, great. When he goes to bed, I want him about 187. And then a lot of the times we can predict to the pound what you guys are going to wake up at. And then if that's the day of the show, sometimes we'll clean off a little water that morning, whatever it takes. Just keep you dry until you get on stage. Brett says Dylan's looking housed in his updates. Outrageous from your back double by. Oh, your arms look. Yeah. Yeah. Dylan's growing everywhere at a fast rate. So, but he did the work at getting lean first, and that's what resulted in that. That's how it works. For most people, that's how it works. Yeah, Joey's using 175 of cyclic dextrin around the workout. So 75 intra, 100 on the drive home. That's a lot of fucking carbs. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of carbs. That's good shit. Brett, is that a Rogue Apple 3 milligram? No, it's a Wintergreen 6 milligram. Don't tell AJ. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Brett says, damn. Raymond says, God bless Humalog. It works. It works. You better up your EQ for that nicotine vasoconstriction, or I'm telling AJ. My blood pressure was 120/70 this morning. I think my vasoconstriction is just fine. I think it's fine. And the EQ is high enough. I promise you that. Adam says, popping my Humalog cherry ASAP. Humalog works. It does. It's not a magic trick, but it works. Otherwise, we wouldn't use it. Otherwise, we wouldn't use it. My ex-girlfriend was a type 1, and when she moved out, she left her supply of Humalog here. So I have 60 auto pens in my fridge. Okay. She was good for something. What else you guys got? Any more questions? This was a good turnout. I think it was only like 20 people, but I'll take it. 20 people that matter are better than many that don't. Brett had a question, but he's forgetting it. Who's going to the Olympia? Anyone? Brett, I'm going to tell you adding 2 daily vacuum sessions in the ab work. Shout out to Ray. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, doing vacuums work. Are there tickets still available? Don't know. That I don't know. Brett will be in New Mexico. It's not a bad place to be. That's right by Vegas. You're like right there. You don't need to meet her family. She doesn't like you, anyways. Might as well go blast 2K on blackjack. Yeah, you won't find me doing that. No, sir. It's a lot of Sarostin money wasted. If we win 2K, we'll get 2 years of coaching paid out. If we win on a 2K hand. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. What do we got? No questions. I think we're wrapping it up here soon then. Unless you guys think of something. About to go hit the hot tub for this shoulder pain. It might work. I would just put more BPC in it. Got muscle work tomorrow. Oh, guys, by the way, if I ever miss a check in, just text me. My cell phone number is all over the internet. And sometimes the Google form glitches and you guys don't know about it. And then instead of just texting me to tell me, hey, just checking, did you get my check in? Guys, sometimes I don't get your check in. And I'm not going to hunt you down for it. So be adults and just text me. It's never an issue. You text me about all the other dumb shit. So maybe that text is worth sending if for whatever reason you don't hear back from me within 12 to 14 hours. I've never missed anyone's check-in unless it doesn't get submitted and they never tell me. So just a heads up on that. Muscle work tomorrow for Brett. Okay. I don't see any more questions besides Brett ranting about whatever the fuck he's talking about. I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it there. Unless you guys have a last minute. Otherwise, I'm going to go eat a meal, probably. Got some check-ins to do. Got through quite a few this morning. Yeah, Dylan's been doing more tempo type work. He's been enjoying that. That's all good stuff. That's all good stuff. As long as you're using, like I said, the active muscle and not putting the eccentric on passive structure. So as long as like just moving slow isn't gonna build any extra muscle. But if you're moving slow with the intended muscle loaded, yeah, it's gonna help. It's gonna help. It is still tough to be okay with it. Yeah, I don't know why guys are so bent out of shape about how much weight they put on the bar. It really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. I've trained with some of the strongest guys in the world, and you're not impressing anyone anyways. So it's a you thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's another reason I lift in my basement because I don't give a fuck, and I'm not trying to impress anyone. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I'd rather look sick curling 25. It's bodybuilding. There's no rules. There's absolutely no rules. You need to be the best looking one on stage. That's it. There's no rules. That's why bodybuilding's the best. Because there's absolutely no rules. I don't keep a logbook. Yeah, I've debated dropping the logbook recently and just whatever weight lands. I don't log anything. That doesn't mean that I'm doing something right or whatever, but I don't know. I think I'm bigger than last year, and I don't have any numbers written down to show you, but I will be bigger on stage. So you tell me. You tell me, and I'll show you my logbook. Here, let me show you. See that? That was my workout today. That's what I did today. It's a push day. And I got better today. I got better. I promise. And I don't need a logbook to tell me that. Juicy Pump inbound. All right, guys, I'm going to sign out. ChaseIronsForm.com if you're not in there. TommyJohnCoaching.com if I don't already coach you. Tommy John Coaching on Instagram if you don't already follow me, which you probably do. And then if you guys want to share this video once I stop recording, give it a like and all that stuff, that all helps me. And I appreciate you guys for your trust and your support. More support than I deserve, and sometimes more trust than I deserve. So none of this is possible without all of you. So appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and we'll do it again next Friday at the same time, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you, guys. Happy Friday. Enjoy.